Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Were you hoping we couldn't? Then you wouldn't be able to attend, right? But we recording now. All right. The time is now 4 o'clock. We will call the monthly meeting for the Transportation Penny Committee to order. Uh, do we have a quorum? Let's say no. Let's see. No, I don't believe we have a quorum. So we will move right along. Do we know if there any public comments have been submitted?
None that I'm aware of.
All right. Since we do not have a quorum, we will not be able to approve the minutes of October. It's been a long time since we've had a quorum. We will move right into small business opportunities.
Well, hello. My name is Erica Wade, the manager for the Office of Small Business Opportunity. And just to go over our report pretty quickly. So as you can see, we're now at 120 SLBEs that are certified with the office. Since we last met, we had a workshop titled The Power in Strategic Partnerships. We had about 51 participants that was on that call. We had the Shiva group who were the moderators of that particular call, and they talked about the power in having partnerships and joint ventures when it comes to having small businesses. And then we also, myself and the compliance officer, Ms. Margaret Jones, we attended our B2G training to help us as far as our certifications and our tracking mechanism and that we use. We went and got some training on that, and that went well. We went to Phoenix, Arizona for that particular one. Even though we have 120 SLBE certified, I'm looking at my report, I see we also have 18 pending applications, so which is good. So we're hoping to turn those over into certified, from pending to certified SLBEs. Since we met last, we did not have any new projects that we set out with any new projects that we set goals on since we met. So that's pretty much it for OSBO for right now. Do we have any questions? All right, thank you.
You get cut off easy today, didn't you? Next, we'll go to the comments. Anybody on from the comment?
I'm here. I'm sorry. I was on
okay.
mute.
Gotcha.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Jackie Bowers, and I'm the Director of Operations for the Comet. So I will start our report with giving an update about the new buses that we're receiving. So as of now, all the specs for the new buses have been reviewed and approved, and the 4 new buses are expected to be delivered to us in November of this year. And also the infrastructure that's slated to be completed in November or December of this year as well. Okay, the next item, we have the bus stop shelter and bench permitting summary. And we're actually going to go to page 11 to get the details of the permitting. So first, there were no completed sites. And we had one approved site, which is at Hardscrabble and Bush Road. And we have currently one bench that's under permit review, and that's at Lexington Medical Center. And they're reviewing the easement on that one. So on page 13, the sites in design, we have 8 shelters that's in design. And the 2 newest one, which has the asterisk, is at Decker Boulevard and Quiet Lane. That's actually a property owner that's requesting a shelter at his location. There's already a bus stop there. And he actually requested a shelter because so many people are sitting on the porch of his property. So he just preferred to get the shelter so they have a place to sit. And the other one, the newest one, is at McIntyre Produce. So we went out to view that site, and the bus stop is presently right in their parking lot at the entry gate, which is interfering with parking. So they want a shelter on the outskirts of their parking lot. Also in sight, we have 18 benches. That's in site design. Okay, so we'll go to page 14, which is item C, which is our ridership. So for the month of May, we had a total of 131,263 riders compared to May of last year, which was 121,579. And that's a 7.96% increase from year to year. Okay, page 15. The previous month comparison. So as I just stated, May, we had 131,263. So the previous month, which was April, the ridership was 147,800. And I'm sure that's due to a lot of the schools and the colleges and ending for the session. Okay, page 16. That's the average daily ridership. So you'll see on April, the daily ridership average was 21,114. And for May, which was a decrease, and it went down to 18,752. Okay, page 17. The USC service. So the ridership was 2,091, which was a difference of 19,164 compared to April. And USC service averages about 22,000 monthly during regular service. Okay, so that concludes the ridership. The next 2 reports are just a financial report. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to ask. And that concludes my report.
I have a question
Mhm.
for Ms. Bowers.
Okay.
The new buses, are those electric buses or they're just your standard bus?
Yes, actually there are 2 fuel cell electric and 2 hydrogen buses. And they're gonna replace, they're gonna replace 4 of our existing small buses.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we
So
looking
is that the path forward? You think is to continue to replace your older buses with the electric buses, or you're not sure how that
Yeah, we're gonna,
replacement?
yeah, we're
Fine.
gonna, yeah, we're gonna see how well they perform first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
John Epting has his hand up with a question, John.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Yeah, Jackie, I appreciate the report very much.
Uh-huh.
Thrilled to hear that those alternative energy buses are en route and we've got the infrastructure for them. I know that's been a complicating factor for sure to get those to site and actually get them into our routes. So
Yeah.
great news here. Glad to hear that. It sounds like it'll be on for the end of the year, and also encouraging information there with the ridership. Love seeing that year-over-year increase, and understand the challenges we'll be facing with on campus during the summer.
Yeah.
But not as many people there to ride this time of year. Do want to ask a little bit about the shelters. So I see you mentioned that we've got a new approved site for the Hardscrabble bus stop there. Will that be installed before our next meeting? Can we anticipate that in the next month that would be able to be installed?
That's the Hardscrabble and Bush.
Yes, ma'am.
Hopefully it will. It's been provided to AOS, which they're our contractor that we use for the bus stop and the shelter installations. I can get an update from them to see when's the anticipated installation date.
Right. I appreciate that. And, the reason I ask is that it does seem like a real slog to implement any of these when from the recommendation to actual implementation seems to take a really long time. Would you mind enlightening us a little bit to that process and where some of the difficulties lie? Where's maybe some of those bottlenecks are at?
From the conversations and the meetings that I've been in, it kind of falls in lines with SCDOT and the easement processes with like property owners. So that's what's taken a long time.
And all of that's being ushered by a consultant, Davison Floyd, is that right?
Yes, Davison Floyd, they handle all of this, yes.
See, and do they, I ask not to denigrate the work of a consultant. I know that they have difficulty, balancing workloads and that sort of thing. But,
Yeah.
I also feel for the folks I see standing in the rain or, in a hot area waiting for the bus
Yeah.
to ask the question, why can't they commit more resources to pursuing these somewhat more aggressively?
Yeah.
This is something that manpower, if they have a contract in place to consult and pursue these bus stops, these shelters, why can't we seem to see more progress on these? It's not often that I see a new shelter being implemented, and obviously the need is realized. We understand where the work needs to happen at, but the progress getting to the point where we're actually installing shelters, and we talked about the availability of materials and that sort of thing, and I understand that can be a bit prohibitive, but as far as getting approval from DOT, this is a process of submitting encroachment permits and receiving approval within 30 days. And if the backup or the backlog is DOT, then I think that's reasonable. They're a difficult organization to get a permit through, but in so many of these cases, just seems like the project hasn't risen to the point of being critical for execution, and that's where I'm a little bit concerned. Is just seeing progress with these shelters as we move forward.
Yeah, and for the most part too, it's the easement on the private property. We've been seeing that a lot, getting permission from property owners, even though the actual shelters is not completely going on that property owner's property, maybe a portion of it, but we still have to get the permission. So between that and also when we have to place an order for more shelters and shelter parts, sometimes that takes a while to get the parts in for the shelters.
I understand. I wonder if there's a way to prioritize rather than, it kind of seems like we're rolling in the order that they were introduced to the list. If there would be a way to prioritize the areas where we're 100% in public right of way and don't need to seek private easement to be able to prioritize some of these shelters, get them moving a little bit quicker.
Right.
So I can understand, private easement's difficult to obtain.
Yeah, and we have regular meetings with Davis and Floyd, so I'll bring that up in the meeting just to kind of get more information from them as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that feedback and for
Yeah.
doing what we can to move those along.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, Miss Jackie. Anybody else have any questions? If not, we'll move on to the man of the hour, Mr. Michael Maloney with the transportation program.
Hi, sir. Thank you, Mr. Black. Appreciate it. The only bad news I have is Kelly's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
But Miss Wendy Gardner is our senior accountant. She is filling in on that while we continue along. Only gotten something like 60 applications for that position, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to work on that.
Only 60?
Yeah, yes, sir. I guess I don't know if it's because they knew they'd be working with great Penny staff or not, but
It was working with you. That's
yes,
what it
sir.
was.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, sir. That had to have been it. But we'll be working on that over the next month, probably, and interviewing for that position for our administrative coordinator here at the Penny. We have our 4 PMs. One is not with us due to dental surgery right now, but he stayed with us as long as he could this afternoon. That's Dr. Ali. But we have our other PMs on with us. Got Michael Green, and I see he's out there. Kazi Islam, who I just got to see, had a public information meeting last week regarding the Pineview Road widening project. Sound like did real well down there with his OET and all. And Mr. Miller was down there at that in my stead. I last week was at the state conference for American Public Works Association and getting some training. So appreciated the county's support on that. We've also got our report here. We've got the one item on the ad hoc coming up tomorrow night to kind of do a master plan. That's one of the projects of the Penny to kind of review all the needs analysis of the Richland County and to review those and the costs that are still out there on projects that may be part of the Penny or things that we could have overlooked in the big scheme of things as far as what's going on with the county and the COG, the MPO, looking at regional transportation. So that'll be something that we'll be seeking consultant help with. For the projects in design, as we call pre-construction, the good news is we just received authorization to proceed to construction that allows us to put the project out to bid to contractors for Alpine Road. That's resurfacing and sidewalk, often labeled just Alpine Road sidewalk, but it does have a grant on it for $800,000 for resurfacing. That project extends from Percival Road under I-20, passing Polo Road, and then continuing all the way to Two Notch Road. So it's quite extensive project for resurfacing and then adding new sidewalk. The road does have some sidewalks on it. It's a sidewalk on the easterly side of the road as it heads towards Two Notch. So that will be going to bid, and we're working with procurement to get that ready for release. Atlas Road widening, the DOT is reviewing that. They've had those since the very end of April, and we should expect comments back on that very soon so we can get an authorization to proceed to construction on Atlas Road. That would be widening it 5 lanes wide from Garner's Ferry to Shop Road. Bluff Road widening phase 2 is in its final right-of-way plans, and those were submitted. So when we say final right-of-way plans, that means 60–70% completion on the drawing. We get comments on that, and once we get an authorization to proceed in right-of-way, that would be allowing us to acquire any needed right-of-way to widen the road. But Bluff Road phase 2, for the most part, is not a widening the road project, but it will resurface it. There's a big gas station down there by I-77, and from that point all the way into town towards the stadium, we'll be resurfacing all 4 lanes of that, and then adding 1 traffic signal closer to the stadium. There's also some infill sidewalk on that project as well up in the upper part. Broad River Road widening, that one we have OET on the working on the comments we received on that. Those had just come in on the 8th of June. So we're reviewing those comments for anything that might affect right away, so we can get right to an authorization to proceed. I've asked for an early one so we can begin any property acquisitions on that road. Our OET sub-consultant working on is working on utility relocations and property acquisitions. They're 80% complete on the property work, which includes getting title reports on all the properties, and then preparing appraisals of the properties needed. Clemson Sparkleberry, the SUDOT did respond to our report and issued a memorandum that will not be required on this project, so that will allow us to proceed. We're reviewing some comments that may extend some of the roads like Sparkleberry, or how we tie in also with side roads. So that's kind of being reviewed just to make sure we don't need any additional right-of-way on that project. And we'll be moving closer into the final plans on that. Got a greenway project here, Crane Creek Greenway. We are getting some phase 1 archaeological survey on that one. That one runs along the Broad River heading towards I-20. So that's continuing on what we need for design. And kind of going into the Decker Woodfield neighborhood, we are expecting comments on Hunt Club Road. For Brookfield, Chatsworth, we are also expecting DOT to, we did get comments, but we're going to be responding back to them shortly. So those are projects that, even though they're sidewalks, they're in SCDOT right away, and we have to follow the process there with their comments, and then get that to our construction stage plans. Gills Creek Greenway, we did talk with the city on that. We are looking at one alternative, just to compare it to wood as far as greenways. This project will start at Fort Jackson Boulevard and head down to McKell, and has an extensive amount of boardwalk. Having looked at that, we want to get, and we talked to some folks at Permatrack, which is out of Charlotte. They make precast planking, precast joists, basically girders, precast footings that all put together can make a nice curvilinear trail. So we're looking at that, and we'll compare that to wood in the bids. That design is at 70%. The city did comment on the plans, and we believe the OET is just now completing those comments that we received from the city, as they will be maintaining it. There is one property that Gills Creek Greenway does cross that's not in the city, and they have asked that those be annexed into the city. So we're gonna have to deal with how that might work. Kelly Mill Road is the one that we just started out. OET is currently preparing the drawings to get to 30% plans on that. That's anticipated as a 2-lane road. We need a 3-lane road just due to what's out on that road. Further to the south with 2 different schools, we'll have sidewalks on both sides of the road in that currently aren't there. So that'll tie into a hard scrabble that's under construction and bring it down towards the schools. Lower Richland Boulevard, we're addressing those adjustments that the DOT had, and then looking at any adjustments to right-of-way we need to get the right-of-way approved on Lower Richland widening. There was some comments on the alignment of Lower Richland Boulevard as how it aligns with Garners Ferry Road. Percival sidewalk, while it wasn't a comment for written comment, we did receive a call from somebody that happens to live in the area indicating some people are pedestrians are traveling in the road and was wondering when we're going to bid that out. So we do have one item that needs to be cleared with the DOT. So a meeting was scheduled for that to occur so that the DOT experts and our consultant expert can come together on that geotech question that they have at SCDOT. That's the one comment that we have that's holding that project up to go to construction. So as soon as we have that, we want to push in to get that out to bid. Pineview Road, as we mentioned, we had the last week, the PIM. I understand there was a good turnout. We still have to review all the comments that might have come in on that, either at the meeting or the public was also given forms they can fill out to send in with any comments on that widening to 3-lane. It's 3-lane roads and intersection improvements. One new signal at Italian American Way. Not a lot of new on Polo Road. That's continues in design. We are having our first meeting, I think it's tomorrow, on Shop Road widening. And that will be with the city included for the utilities. So we can talk about the utility work that'll be needed with Columbia Water. So that's moving along into deeper into design to include utility relocation needs on that. The cross section of that is 5 lanes all the way in, sidewalk, 5-foot sidewalks on both sides. It's got 4-foot bike lanes, on-road bike lanes as well. Somebody had asked, well, why don't you just shift the road and put a 8-foot trail on one side? But when you go out to the Shop Road and look at that, it has dirt trails on both sides of the roads, and those are created by the pedestrian movements, both due to the games out there and getting to the stadium, and then other side is just due to people walking along to the different businesses, and that road doesn't really have any crossing, so we recommended that it have sidewalks on both sides. Sunset Drive sidewalk. We've been told by DOT we would be receiving the authorization to proceed to construction shortly. We have to check in with them because that should have been in last week. So that's another one that should be going to construction. The other projects are on the no change since last TPAC, since those are pretty much heavily in design. kind of that group, I know the Smith Rocky Branch Greenway. We've talked to the city about that. That project is primarily in the county unincorporated area. It does end down by the river after it travels under both the CSX and the Norfolk Southern railroad bridges. So we'll have the 10-foot high roofs over the trail as it goes under the railroad bridges, and then it'll come out to the city park. As far as construction, Garner's Ferry Harmon, even though it seems like it's kind of out in the country part of Garner's Ferry Road, there's a lot of utilities out there. So that project went through boring water and that under both Garner's Ferry and Harmon Road. There's just one last utility, Segra, that's performing their relocates. That project was rescoped to the original referendum design, and we'll have extra turning lanes, including a right turn lane on Garner's Ferry. So that's we're just waiting for that one utility to get out of there, and then the Cherokee, the contractor, can get in, and they have some grading that you can see done for the extra turning lanes that's already been done. But when to get into the road work, they're waiting for that utility to get out of there. And North Main Street is mostly some cleanup items. They've had the walkthrough with the city and with the parks part of the city as far as plantings out there and different things like that. That's kind of where that's at, is in closeout. There is a rubble pile of concrete and asphalt on the project, within the project limits, on a parcel that was owned by DOT. I understand that's with the city now. And the contractor was out pulverizing that into road base, so that's getting cleaned up. Resurfacing S and T are still in progress. They're both about 70 to 90% complete on the items. We did clean up some different things that needed to be done. Signal lane, for instance, and resurfacing package T. Found a drainage problem with the road existing, and when we find that on resurfacing projects, we will we will act to make sure that what we're putting in will last, and that the neighborhood isn't continually dealing with any kind of buildup of stormwater or whatnot in their roads. So some storm sewer was added to that road to improve it. There was some also work on Deer Track Drive in that realm, where we were able to do that with valley gutters being added. As far as resurfacing, County Council did approve to utilize some of the funds that are available in the project reserve so that we can continue on with the resurfacing program. We'll be down to a little over $1 million in that program. It was real successful as far as being able to do things in a short period of time. It's pretty much county roads, the few other agencies to deal with on those. But we will be going into what comes after T. As far as the alphabet, at least maybe 2 more packages. We were approved to have up to $5 million for that. So, and then Screaming Eagle Percival also was one of the rescoped items in the rescoping we did back in the summer of 21 with council approval for the full T intersection design, and the signal heads are installed on that. So I haven't seen it since I was gone last week, but it should be getting ready to be put online. I think what was the Screaming Eagle exit ramp off of Percival is maybe still needs to be taken out. So that's just about complete though. while it's not shown as a big change, Bull and Elmwood that's in the next section. There's some utilities that were utility poles that do need to move so they can widen out some of the curb lines on Elmwood coming up to Bull. And I noticed just today they were getting those relocated. So the utilities are working fairly heavily out there in their relocation work. We do have recent photos of Dirt Road Package N, Summer Haven Drive, that the grading and utility relocation, there was a water main in the way, have been completed, and that's in progress now. So need to update that on that. That's we've moved on. There was a delay in getting AT&T off the poles at Cornell Adams Run. Those have now been removed and put on the new poles. So they'll be able to finish that one up rather quickly. We still sit with these, we get these 4 projects. So Alpine Road now does have its ATP. Percival has 1 item to clear with DOT for its ATP. Sunset Drive, we have everything cleared and just waiting for the ATP. And then Atlas Road is the one that's been in review by DOT, waiting for its authorization to proceed. So those 4 are really ready to go, just waiting for some authorization on 3 of those. And that's our project report. As far as our financial report at the very end, I was looking at that. We just now we're at the 50% mark on accounts expended to date, as far as the base penny dollars, at 529 million versus 1.07 billion. That is in line with the progress of the projects at 50% or better as well. As I reported, widenings are about 45%. Intersections were at 90% complete, and we'd be further, but one remaining intersection we have will be a large one, Clemson Sparkleberry, and so a lot of the different areas, greenways are at about 30%, but they're all lining up to get to construction. And that's our report.
Does anybody have any questions? I do have one quick question on the bonds that were issued. Have the bonds that were issued, have those been paid back yet? Or are those still outstanding or payments are being made on?
So yes, I understand that there was an initial payment that might have been larger, and then there's annual installments. Those are included in our annual budget every year. So,
okay.
So it's kind of like if you were to look at the county budget, the transportation part of that has, let's say, a revenue of, if it has a revenue of 80 million a year, or a budget set for that, so much comes out for the bond, it comes out for the comment, and then the remaining amount we can put new into the project budgets.
Gotcha. All right, Mr. Chris Kiefer has a question.
Thank you. This question is probably from Mr. Maloney. Regarding the hard scrabble widening project, I know that's an SOT driven project, but I had some comments from some friends asking about how that project's going, an estimated completion date, and like where they can go for updates to find out what's happening.
Okay. That's a good question. The last update I received was probably at our last coordination meeting with the DOT or two back when I asked that, and understood it was going to be May of 2024. So a little less than a year now for completion. That's the last update I received on that. The project manager is somebody we've coordinated quite a bit at the Penny with also, is Bart McCarter. I can get you an email address for Mr. McCarter. He manages that project.
That'd be nice. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Maloney?
I do. Mr. Maloney, as it relates to the neighborhood improvement projects, do you have a list of neighborhoods that you can start sharing with us so we can see? I know I see the budget dollars there, and there's the amount for, I guess, what's currently expensed for neighborhood improvement compared to the I think it was 63. I was in that. Yeah. So could you begin providing a list of what neighborhoods that you're currently working on for those,
yes.
A project list?
What I could do, I have a sheet that looks a lot like, so the last page in our handout, I can start putting that in. It's a sheet showing what's remaining. And because I can kind of clean this particular sheet out of what's completed, we were able to break out the NIPs on there. And the NIPs,
at a progress level, you can include like you were saying, if it's completed, what stage it's in, and
right.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Right. So there's 5 remaining NIPs. There's 2 completed. The 5 remaining is CERN. Now CERN was actually completed from the referendum amount, and it had a sidewalk added to it. So, it's like a phase 2. And the reason is it actually came in under budget by enough to allow a sidewalk to go along that road that was much needed to head towards the school. And then Decker NIP, Crane Creek NIP, Trenholm Acres Newcastle NIP, and Broad River Corridor NIP. So those would be the remaining projects in progress. They are kind of a high density of sidewalks going into a neighborhood.
Okay.
So it's just in the past month, I was at a neighborhood meeting for a neighborhood association for Trenholm, Newcastle area. And so it has, an extensive amount of sidewalk going there that'll connect it. Now that project did not have a connection to Park Lane. And so about 18 months ago at a prior meeting, we took public input on that, and we restored what was removed previously to connect sidewalk all the way to Park Lane Road. So otherwise, we're building these those are being built per the referendum, minus the referendum originally had some streetscape in there and lighting that the Penny couldn't cover, as far as whether it was allowed per the rules.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's great. And so if we could see it, like you list out dirt road, the list of dirt roads and status, whether it's pre-construction. I just would like to see the neighborhood and the NIPs, the neighborhood improvement projects, some form of list.
Yes.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
To
We'll get a list and then the maps. You can kind of see the roads that they're on. That was one of my first questions. I should have expected that it would be yours too, since you're good public works mind. Where are these going to be? Where's it all these projects going to occur. So we did list those out in our, even our projects to complete. So we'll include those, and that breaks out the budgets for each one too. So we did find out that where that was originally created. And so each project does actually have a budget. It's not just 63 million out there. So.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. We do have Miss Bennett from Richland County Communications on the line too. I saw she's on the next agenda item. So just so you know.
Yes. If we're done, Miss Bennett, the floor is yours.
I obviously joined right in the nick of time. Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for my tardiness. I had another meeting or an appointment. So I do want to discuss with you all today that we are in the process of, alongside Director Maloney, our communications team is working with a consultant to develop a new Transportation Penny website. And for that website, there is a page for the advisory committee. And there's some spaces on that page that will allow for some photos, and our conversations with the consultant, we thought it would be a great idea to include photos of the committee, of the officers of the committee, as well as the committee members. So I wanted to bring that to you all to get your thoughts and opinions on it. And if you're obliged to do so and be a part of that website process and be featured on the website, we'd like to schedule some time to get you in our office so that we can take those photos. I know it's kind of hard getting everyone together, but I'm hopeful that we can, for this particular project, be able to get you all together if you'd like to be featured on the website.
Sure.
So what I'll do next is send out an email that has a few dates or maybe a week's time frame, and perhaps we can maybe do like a doodle poll or something where we can get everyone's schedules aligned to come in. It won't take long. We do have a photographer, videographer on staff, Andy Hayworth, that's on this call, and he can assist us with taking those photos. It should be very sweet and simple, and then those photos will be featured on the website. The website is scheduled tentatively to go live in August, so we would need to kind of expedite getting this scheduled within the next couple of weeks.
Well, any excuse, go get your hair done, like kind of, So.
Absolutely. So I'll send out that communication either tonight or tomorrow, and you'll be receiving that email from me. I did get the contact list for all of the committee members from Kelly before she left. So I'll reach out to all of you to try to get that scheduled as soon as possible. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Chelsea.
Of course. No problem.
Our next scheduled meeting is on July 17th. Do we have any kind of a membership update from anyone about filling any of the positions or whatnot that's available? That was always a Kelly question. So
I'm sorry.
Do we have any kind of an update on the filling the vacant positions or where we're at on membership?
The only thing I saw, like for the TPAC commission members, there was a name on the list, but they didn't act on it. So I guess I have to check in with the council and administration, what might have been found at the committee that handles that.
Gotcha.
Hey, John, a couple things.
Yes, sir.
So I think I sent you a spreadsheet that would have had everyone's appointment date in there. And we were able to establish in the bylaws that everyone is appointed for a 5-year term based off of those appointment dates. I've tried to, put a beginning and end in that spreadsheet. So check that email That should have good information on who's still an appointee. And to that end, I'd also mention that my term ran up a month or so ago. And so I'm not officially a member of TPAC anymore. I'm just here listening along and helping out where I can.
Well, don't you still attend until you're replaced?
Yes, I can absolutely attend. I don't know though that I am actually, part of a quorum, for example,
I
which
got you.
one reduces the number of people you need for a quorum, but also means that I can't count towards it. And then, a complicating factor for this committee is that we do have appointees, not just from Richland County, but also, as you're very much aware, the city of Columbia, the city of Forest Acres, Eastover, Katy Lakes, all these areas around Columbia all have the option to provide an appointee. Some of them have opted out and decided that they no longer care to provide an appointee because they don't have any more projects in their area, but others have provided folks. And so check that spreadsheet. Let me know if you have any questions and we can talk about it and get it figured out.
Okay, that sounds good.
So
Thanks, Sean. Anybody have any other questions, comments?
I do have one question. Would it be possible for the next meeting to be in person potentially? And that way we can have everyone together at the same time, do you think?
Yeah, we could. I'm up for that. Eva, anybody else?
Yeah, it's good. That's good. The 17th. In
Yeah.
person, is that be the day you're proposing to take pictures? When you said have everyone
Yeah,
together?
if we could potentially get everybody there at the same time. I don't know the location that you all would typically have your meetings at, but if you're going to host it at 2020 Hampton, we can certainly make sure that either you all can come a little bit early or you can stay afterwards and we can have Andy on site to make sure that those photos get taken at that time.
All right, that sounds good.
If you do have it at 5, I think we won't have a problem with, scheduling it for 2020 Hampton. We had some issues with keeping the security officers, later, but at 4 p.m. we wouldn't have that issue. Otherwise, we could have a different location such as 400 Powell Road or something like that if it's later, but I think we'll be fine downtown at 4 p.m.
Okay.
Getting everyone into the building.
Okay.
That sounds good.
I'm going to interject here if that's all right. As IT, where we've had the meetings in the past, have been, if we want to do a hybrid meeting where we can have online and in person, we have a limited number of spaces we can do that. So council chambers, 4th floor admin conference room. Mr. Maloney, I think you guys have one at Public Works, but it's a small room.
It'll handle 10.
So just want to throw it out there to keep that in mind. If we're going to be doing hybrid, if it's all in person, then it's not a problem. But if we need to have a Zoom aspect, we're limited.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, we have a little bit of time that we can work on getting all that logistical stuff worked out. And then just everyone pay attention to your emails and stuff, and we'll make sure that we get the confirmations and stuff sent out of exact locations and times and stuff like that. Anybody have anything else? If not, the time is 4:53 and we are adjourned.
all right. Goodbye, everyone.
See y'all on the 17th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.